You know how sometimes you say yes to something because it feels too good to pass up, even when your gut is whispering wait. That's how it started. A simple text on a gray Thursday morning. Mila, come with us to Tulum. Our treat. All inclusive. Just say yes. And like a fool I did. Us, Elise and Peter, that couple who somehow always have champagne in their fridge, spontaneous weekends in Paris, and matching Instagram smiles even after 6 years together. Elise was my friend from college, but the kind of friend who kept score. I should have remembered that. I was standing at the gate in sandals too new and a tote bag borrowed from my sister when Elise greeted me like a hostess welcoming a contestant to a very upscale game show. Mila, finally, get ready for the week of your life. The resort looked like a dream. White stucco villas, private infinity pools, hibiscus everywhere. The kind of place I had bookmarked on Pinterest, but never imagined actually seeing with my own eyes. Peter gave me a half hug and one of those cheek kisses that never actually lands. So glad you could make it, he said, even though he hadn't looked up from his phone. I told myself not to take it personally. Rich people just have different manners, right? There was champagne waiting in the room. For you, Elise grinned. I had them bring it early. Her hair was swept into this effortless knot, and her bikini probably cost more than my entire suitcase. We're all about pampering you this week. You deserve it, babe. I did. I really did. Life had been hard lately. I just finished grad school, was job hunting, still sleeping on a twin mattress in my aunt's guest room. So when they said our treat, I clung to those words like a lifeline. The first night was magical. Dinner by candlelight on the beach. Salt on my skin, breeze in my hair, Elise ordering for the table in perfect Spanish. Let's get everything, she said. You have to try the grilled octopus. I laughed too hard, drank too much, and thought, maybe this was what healing looked like. Until the waiter brought the bill. Peter leaned back, looked at it, then slid it toward Elise. You got this one? Elise didn't even glance at me when she nodded. I'll get the spa day, she said breezily. I didn't understand what was happening yet. Not really. But the first splinter of doubt lodged itself somewhere behind my ribs. The next morning, there was a note on the kitchen counter, massage for Mila at 10 a.m. room charge. Enjoy. Room charge? But they had said. And then came the words, floating through the air like a dagger wrapped in silk. Elise, laughing softly on a call outside my door. She's so sweet, she said. And honestly, she needed this. I mean, how else is she going to experience a place like this? I stood frozen. It wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. As if this trip wasn't a gift, but a charity project. As if I wasn't a guest. As if I was the entertainment. I didn't even know yet how bad it would get. That they would keep a running tally. That every margarita would turn into a subtle IOU. That I would wake up one morning to an empty room, no texts, no breakfast, and a bill at the front desk with my name printed neatly across the top. I said yes to a vacation. What I got was a lesson. And it began with a single moment, Elise's voice, casual and cruel. Honestly, what did she think our treat meant? I should have known better. You grow up the way I did, hand-me-downs, shared bedrooms, clipping coupons next to your mother, and you learn quickly that nothing is ever really free. But when Elise said all-inclusive, I wanted to believe her. Not because I trusted her, but because I wanted to feel chosen. Like I belonged in a world where people just gave each other things, without an agenda tucked inside. That first full day in Tulum, I tried to shake off the unease. The massage had already been booked, and the spa receptionist said, "Charge goes to your room," like it was nothing. I nodded, smiled, walked into that warm, eucalyptus-scented silence, and told myself I was overreacting. The therapist pressed her hands into my shoulders and said, "You have stress in your body, amiga." I almost laughed. You have no idea. That night at dinner, I tried to pay attention to the food, the music, the stars. Elise was glowing in her linen jumpsuit. Peter relaxed in that lazy, entitled way he had, like he expected the night to fold itself around him. The check came, and I waited, not anxiously, not obviously, just waited. Elise waved it away again. "Peter's got this one," she said. He didn't even look up. Actually, Mila, he said, and for a second my stomach dropped. Could you cover the tip? It was a tiny thing, less than $20, but it broke something. I didn't argue. I pulled out my card like it was normal, like I hadn't been invited here with the promise that I wouldn't pay for a thing. The waiter nodded, polite but impersonal. I had the sudden urge to explain. I'm not freeloading. They invited me, but I said nothing, just signed my name in small, silent letters. Back in the room, I found a note from Elise propped against the complimentary chocolates. Spa was $180. Just FYI. Peter wants to keep a little ledger so we can settle up later. Hope that's cool. Settle up? I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the note. My cheeks were hot. There was a high buzzing in my ears. I didn't cry. I didn't even speak. I just sat there, replaying all the moments, Elise's casual confidence, Peter's tight little smiles, the waiter's neutral face. The way they looked at me, like they had bought me a ticket to a world I didn't belong in, and now they were reminding me what it cost. And the worst part? The ugliest part? I hadn't fought it. I hadn't said, wait, you said this was your treat. I hadn't said anything at all, because part of me, the part one hated, had already started trying to earn it. The next morning, I was up early. I went for a walk alone on the beach, pretending I liked solitude. In truth, I just didn't want to sit across from them again. I didn't want to see Elise sip her green juice and talk about the soul of Mexico as if she owned it. I didn't want to hear Peter talk about crypto, or politics, or art he didn't actually understand. When I came back, they were already gone. No note this time, just a text. Going diving. Didn't want to wake you. There's cereal in the kitchen. XO. Cereal. I stood in that empty villa in the borrowed robe, with the breeze from the open patio door brushing past my bare legs, and I felt invisible. That night, I cooked. Yes, me. I went into town, bought ingredients with what was left on my travel card, and made dinner. Shrimp with lime and garlic. A salad. Wine. I even lit candles. Elise walked in and blinked. Mila, you didn't have to. I laughed. Said something light. Something harmless. But I had to, because the tally in my head was getting louder, and this meal? It was my apology. My attempt to belong. We ate. They thanked me, but not really. And later, when I was doing the dishes, I heard Peter say from the living room, honestly, it's kind of a good system. She gets a vacation. We get a cook. Fair trade. He was laughing. So was Elise. My hands were in soap. My back to them. And I kept scrubbing. Because what else could I do? I was already here. I had already said yes. And the vacation I thought I was getting had turned into something else entirely. Something I was too proud or too ashamed to walk away from. I just didn't know yet how much more I'd end up paying. The bill came to the room on the fourth day. Not a metaphorical bill. A literal envelope slid under the door with a quiet hiss, like the house itself was trying not to wake me. I had been lying in bed, scrolling through photos I didn't recognize on Elise's Instagram, me, blurry and squinting behind her cocktail glass, tagged but unacknowledged when I heard the sound. I got up, thinking maybe it was room service. Maybe Elise had ordered us something nice. I should have known. The envelope had my name on it, Mila V, typed in small, efficient letters. Inside was a printed statement from the front desk for nights of accommodations, a full-body massage, 3 breakfasts, 2 poolside cocktails, and a portion of the airport transfer. Total, $1,642.07. I stared at it, blinked, read it again. They had split the bill, not between themselves, between the 3 of us. I walked out onto the patio, bare feet cold on the tiles. The sun was already rising over the palms, the ocean gold and pink and indifferent. And there they were, poolside, drinking coffee and laughing. Peter was scrolling through his phone. Elise was in one of those floaty robes that looks like a cloud if a cloud had a $600 price tag. Morning sunshine, she said when she saw me. How did you sleep? I held up the envelope. What's this? Elise glanced at it. Oh yeah. Housekeeping slipped those under all the doors this morning. We figured it was easiest if we just did a 3-way split for the basics. Hope that's cool. Cool. Peter looked up. We'll Venmo you later for the excursions. Still waiting on the receipts. My mouth opened, but I didn't know what to say. Not yet. Not anything that wouldn't come out wrong. Elise must have seen something shift in my face because she stood up, came over, and lowered her voice. Hey, she said gently. I know this is more than you expected, but you're having a great time, right? I mean, it's all been worth it, hasn't it? And there it was. That tone. That saccharine, delicate voice that women use when they're pretending not to insult you. The one that hides the blade in its palm. You said it was your treat, I said, quieter than I meant to. Elise blinked. Did I? Yes, I said. You said, come with us. Our treat. All inclusive. That was the message. She looked genuinely puzzled for a moment. Or pretended to. Oh, sweetie. I meant the invite. Like, you didn't have to book anything. We took care of all that. You just show up. That kind of thing. But I did book, I said. Now you're asking me to pay. Her smile thinned. Well, yeah. I mean, you're here. You're using everything. You've been having drinks, spa services. We've included you in everything. Isn't it fair that you chip in? Chip in. As if I was freeloading. As if I hadn't cooked for them. Tip the staff. Made myself invisible every time they made plans without me. Elise, I said slowly. If this was about money, you should have said something before we got on the plane. She bristled. It's not about money, Mila. It's about fairness. Peter stood up, coming over. Look, he said, all calm reason. You're the one who said yes. We didn't twist your arm. We assumed you'd handle your share. We're not made of money either. I almost laughed. Peter, in his designer sunglasses and gold-accented sandals, wasn't made of money. Besides, Elise added, you needed this. You've been so stuck. We wanted to help. You wanted to help me pay for your vacation, I said. The words came out sharper than I expected. Not loud, but final. There was a silence. Peter shoved his hands in his pockets. Elise folded her arms. You're being kind of ungrateful, she said. That did it. That word. Ungrateful. As if I should bow my head and thank them for the privilege of being tolerated. As if I owed them something for letting me sit next to them while they posted sunlit lies on social media. I walked away. I didn't slam the door. I didn't cry. I just went into my room, locked the door, and sat down on the bed. I opened my banking app. What I saw made my stomach drop. A couple $100. Maybe enough to cover the flight home. Not the rest. Not the spa. Not the drinks. Not the room. They hadn't trapped me. I had trapped myself. I wanted to believe in generosity so badly that I hadn't read the fine print. Because in Elise's world, kindness came with an invoice. And now I owed them. Not just money. I owed them the performance of gratitude. And I wasn't sure I could give it anymore. I didn't leave my room for most of that day. I sat cross-legged on the edge of the bed, sunlight cutting sharp lines across the floor, and tried to figure out how I had ended up here, not in Tulum, but in this exact emotional position. Small, cornered, ashamed. I looked at the little luxuries around me, folded towels, bottled water, the white robe draped over the chair like a ghost. All of it had felt like an escape a few days ago. Now it felt like a trap dressed in linen. I kept thinking about the word Elise used. Ungrateful. Ungrateful for what? For being misled? For being asked to perform thankfulness for things I never asked for? There was a knock on my door mid-afternoon. Soft. Controlled. Elise's voice through the wood. Mila? Hey, can we talk? I said nothing. She waited, then tried again. We're heading to the cenotes. Figured you might want to come. Still I said nothing. Eventually, I heard her footsteps retreat. I didn't cry until I heard their laughter fade down the hallway, the way Peter said her name when he was pleased, the way Elise giggled too loud, on purpose, as if to let me know I was being left behind. I didn't cry because I missed them. I cried because I was angry at myself, for ignoring my gut, for saying yes when I meant maybe, for letting them redefine generosity so cleverly that I forgot what real kindness looks like. That evening, I got a message from the front desk. Guest Services is requesting confirmation of payment method for your outstanding balance. Please come by at your earliest convenience. They had done it. They had formally put everything under my name. I pulled on a sweater even though it was hot. Something about covering my arms made me feel less exposed, and went down to the lobby. The woman at the desk greeted me kindly. Too kindly. I could tell from her eyes she knew. "Your companion said you would be handling the charges on your card," she said, tapping gently on her keyboard. Companions. The word landed like glass. I gave her my debit card because what else could I do? I knew it would decline. It did. The receptionist's smile didn't fade. "Would you like to try another?" I didn't have another. "I'll call my bank," I murmured, voice brittle. As I stepped aside, I caught my reflection in the glass behind her. I looked like someone else, tired, out of place, a girl playing dress-up in someone else's life. I texted Elise. "Can we talk?" The reply came a few minutes later. "Sure. We're at the rooftop bar. Come up." So I did. And I shouldn't have. They were sitting at a corner table, drinks already half finished, Peter with his shirt unbuttoned to a degree that would have been comical if I weren't so nauseous. Elise smiled, or tried to, but her eyes didn't match her mouth. "You okay?" she asked, like I was the one being dramatic. I sat across from them. "I just got a message from the hotel. You told them I'd be covering the charges." Elise waved a hand. "Well, yeah. You didn't say anything earlier, so we figured you were good with it. You figured I was good with $1,600 worth of expenses I never agreed to?" Peter frowned. "Milla, we're not rich. I mean, we make decent money, but we have expenses." Elise's parents had to help with the flight. "I thought you understood." Elise added, "We wanted to bring you. But if you couldn't afford it, you should have said no." That's when something inside me snapped. "I did say no," I said. "I said I couldn't afford a trip like this, and you said don't worry, it's our treat. You said you wanted to do something nice for me, and I believed you." Peter scoffed. "Okay, let's not get dramatic." "Dramatic?" I said, heat rising up my neck. "You've been keeping a ledger of every shrimp I ate, and I'm the dramatic one?" Elise leaned in, lowering her voice. "We thought this would be good for you. You've been kind of stuck. We thought this might lift your spirits. A change of scene. But if this is how you repay kindness..." "Kindness isn't a down payment," I interrupted. They said nothing. "You didn't invite me on a vacation," I continued. "You invited me into your performance of generosity. You needed an audience, and I gave you one." I smiled. "I played along. I cooked for you. And the whole time you were waiting to tally up the cost." Peter muttered something under his breath. Elise gave him a sharp look. I stood up. "You know what the worst part is? I don't even care about the money. I care that I thought we were friends. Real friends. But I see now I was just your project. You're proof that you're generous. And I'm done being anyone's evidence." I walked out. Didn't even wait for the elevator. I took the stairs, barefoot, my shoes in my hand like a woman escaping something holy and hideous. Back in the room, I packed fast. I booked a shuttle to the airport for the morning, then emailed the front desk to say I'd be settling the balance in installments. I'd figure it out. Somehow. One thing I knew for sure. I was never coming back to this villa. And I was never again mistaking proximity for friendship. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake listening to the ocean, not because it comforted me, but because it felt like a kind of judgment. Beautiful, unbothered, endless. The waves kept rolling, indifferent to what was unraveling inside me. Around 2 a.m., there was a knock at my door. Soft at first, then louder. Milla, Elise's voice. "Please, let me in." I almost didn't. But part of me, the part still shaking, still tender, needed closure. So I opened the door. She stood barefoot, hair down, makeup smudged, clutching a silk robe around her like armor. She looked scared. But also, beneath that, irritated, like she couldn't believe I had made her feel scared. "Milla," she began, "I didn't mean for it to go this way." I stepped aside. She came in and sat on the edge of the bed, hugging her knees. "I thought we were helping," she said. "I really did." "No," I said gently. "You thought you were performing help." Elise flinched like I'd slapped her. "I've always looked out for you," she whispered. "College, the breakup with Aaron. Remember when I drove 2 hours to pick you up?" "Yes," I said. And then you told the story for years about how you rescued me. It became a way to show people how generous you were. That's not fair. It's honest, I said. She was quiet for a long time. Then, very softly, Peter thinks I'm spoiled. He says I need to do things for others to prove I'm not. And there it was. Not an apology. Not really. But the first honest thing she'd said in days. Elise, I said, you've been trying to prove something your whole life. So have I. That I'm good. That I'm enough. That I deserve a place at the table. But I'm done proving. Especially to people who only invite me so they can feel better about themselves. Her eyes shimmered. I never wanted to make you feel small. You didn't make me feel small, I said. You made yourself feel big. That's the difference. The silence between us was different now. Not the cold, quiet of punishment, but the charged quiet of truth. I'm sorry, she said. And for the first time, I believed her. I forgive you, I said. But that doesn't mean I can keep doing this. She nodded, slowly, like someone finally understanding a language she'd never bothered to learn. I'll pay your share, she said suddenly. I'll talk to Peter. You shouldn't be stuck with the bill. That's not the part that hurt the most, I said. I know. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. She left before dawn, and I never saw her again after that trip. But I'll tell you something strange. As I watched her walk down the path toward her villa, barefoot in the morning light, I didn't feel bitter. I didn't feel angry. I felt clean. The kind of clean that comes when you finally stop begging to be seen and choose instead to see yourself clearly. I left Mexico that morning with less money, fewer friends, and more self-respect than I'd had in years. Because what started as a vacation turned into something much more valuable. A reckoning. A reminder that not every gift is given in good faith. And not every friendship survives the truth. But the ones that do, those are the ones you keep. This is the last part. If you'd like a final short epilogue, a reflective moment where Mila looks back with wisdom, I can write that too. Just let me know.